Hello people from the future, welcome to Normalized Nerd. In this video, I'm gonna show you 11 awesome Pandas tricks that you have to know if you wanna work with data science. Well, these tricks will actually save you a lot of time from searching in Stack Overflow and will make your code much more efficient. If you are new here, then please subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon. I make videos about machine learning and data science regularly. So let's get started. First of all, obviously I need to import the pandas, and just like everyone else, I also write it as PD. Okay, so we have imported the pandas and let's jump into the tricks. Well, I'm gonna start with a simple one. So first, I will show you how you can create a data frame using pandas. Well, in most of the cases, we import some data with the read function like read CSV, read JSON, etc. But what if you want to create a fresh data frame where you want to put your outputs? Well, for that you need to use this data frame class, and this will just return you an object of that class, that is a data frame. And in the parameter you have to pass the column names. Initially I am passing it 3 columns: age, name and ID. Now I'm gonna fill the columns. I have created the columns completely randomly and have not taken any reference from a TV series, okay? And you can see that initially I had 3 columns, but at last I am also adding a new column named DOB, date of birth. Well, in Pandas you can add a new column just like that. You need to make sure one thing: the number of elements in every column should be same as the number of elements that you have used in the first column. So here you can see that I have first initiated my age column with 6 elements. So for the rest of the columns I have to use the same number of elements, okay? Well, I'm gonna place this data frame in the right hand side of the screen so that you can see the data frame always, because throughout the video I'm gonna use this data frame. Now the second trick. Well, this is very simple: head tail. Head means the top portion of the data frame and tails means the bottom portion. So if you write something like that, df.head, and in the parameter you pass an integer, then it will show you that many rows from the top. And if you do the same thing with tail, it will show you that many rows from the bottom. This will provide you a better understanding of the number of columns and the data type of the columns, okay? Let's move on to the next trick. In the third one, I'm going to show you how you can select a contiguous portion of your data frame. For example, suppose I want to select 2 columns and 3 rows starting from the second column and second row. So I want to start with mark 5, okay? And the syntax is very simple. You have to use df.iloc, and in the bracket you have to pass the indices. Remember, these indices are like numpy indices. That means the first index will be inclusive, but the second one will not be inclusive. That means 1:4 means it will traverse from 1, then it will go to 2, then 3, but it will stop at 3. It won't go at 4, okay? Similarly, 1:3 means 1 and 2 only. And this will give you this thing. In the fourth trick, I have selecting some columns that are not contiguous, okay? So for doing that, we can use the column names themselves. Suppose I want to show the ID and age. So the syntax is, you have to create a new data frame, and in the parenthesis of the, so the syntax is something like that. You have to name the data frame, that is df, and you have to add 2 brackets. Remember it very carefully. Not 1 bracket, but 2 brackets. The second bracket is acting as a list, okay? So I have passed ID and age, and I'm storing this data into a new data frame, that is df new, and I'm printing that. So this is showing me 2 columns, ID and age. Easy peasy, right? Now I'm gonna show you how you can rename your columns. Obviously you can do it in your Excel, but it is not recommended, right? So I'm gonna show you here 2 methods. The first one will make you able to change the column names individually, and the second one will make you able to change every column name at once. Okay, suppose I want to change the ID column to column 1 and the name to column 2. So we can use the dot rename function. Remember to pass the access parameter as columns, and in place is equal to true. So if I print that, I will find this: the ID column and the name column has been changed. Now I am using another technique. Well, here you have to change every column name simultaneously. So the trick is df.columns equal to, you are passing the new column names. Well, here I am not changing the age and DOB, so I have let them stay the same, but have changed the col1 and col2 as name and ID. So this will make our data frame as it was previously. Remember one thing, that you have to pass the same number of columns that you have in your dataset in the second case. In the sixth trick, I'm gonna show you how you can split a particular string column. Well, this is particularly helpful if you have dates. So here I have date of birth, so I can use that here. Suppose I wanna split the date into 3 columns: day, month, and year. So the simplest way is, you start with something like that: df double bracket name of the new columns, day, month, and year, and you are using this one, df in the brackets dob, and then dot str dot split. It's telling the pandas that these columns contain string values, so we should be able to split them. And split on what basis? Split by dashes. Well, you can put anything you want, okay? Spaces, commas, semicolons, etc. And the expand should be equal to true. So if I just print the data frame, you will find that I have created 3 new columns: day, month, and year. In the 7th trick, I want to show you the exact opposite of the 6th one. Well, if I can split one string column into several columns, then I should be able to concatenate them, right? Well, absolutely we can. The trick is using the concatenating function, that is just the plus. And the syntax is also very simple. You just make a new column and just add the columns that you want. And remember to add this delimiter here, because if you don't add this delimiter, then it will feel gibberish. And as you can see in the result, I have created a new column, that is modified date, aka mod date. Okay, in the 8th one, I have a very interesting one, and it is actually very useful also for data analysis purpose. So here I want to show you how you can filter your data frame according to multiple criteria. The trick is very simple. You just use this operators. Suppose I want to find every row where the age is less than 25 and the ID is greater than equal to 3. So I have to use some syntax like this: data frame name, then open bracket, then the conditions. I would highly suggest you to use the parenthesis here, because this will make your code much more readable. It seems like only Raj and Sheldon passed the criteria. I wonder how would they feel about it, given that their poor experience in working together. At the number 9, I have again a very important one. So now we are going to learn how you can one-hot encode your categorical values. So one-hot encoding is very simple. Here you just represent your data, categorical data, with zeros and ones instead of some class names. Suppose here I want to one-hot encode my month column. So the way to do is using the function getDummies. In the parameter, you have to pass the data frame and the column that you want to one-hot encode. Now for your convenience, you can actually change the prefix. If you just look at the output, it will be much more clear to you. So the prefix of the new columns would be mo, and delimiter would be underscore. Now remember to drop the first one, because if you don't drop it, then it will create a redundant variable, which is never okay. Now at the number 10, it is another very important one. How would you convert your continuous variables into categorical variable. Well, these kind of transformations are actually very important if you are participating in a data science competition, because there a lot of feature engineering is necessary. Suppose I want to create a new feature where I want to point out who is in their 30s and who is in their 20s. So to do that, I need to categorize the age column. But the age column is a continuous variable, right? The cut function takes the array that you want to divide it into categories. So here I have passed the age array. Now notice here that I have used the values method here, because if I didn't use that, then it would pass a data frame, which is not required. And next comes the bins. So it will just tell you what are the boundaries. If you have n classes, then you have to add n plus 1 boundaries. Okay, here I am making 2 classes, so I have to add 3 boundaries. So the left boundary of the first class is 0 and the right boundary of the first class is 30. That means if a person's age is between 0 and 30, then I will consider that person to be in their 20s. I know that it's a horrible logic, but hey, this is just an example, right? And if the person's age is between 31 and 60, then I will consider them in their 30s. And after that, you can add something called as labels. Labels are just the values that are going to be put in the new column, that is cat age, categorical age. Now comes the last method. Well, this is apply method, and it is very important in pandas because you can do a whole bunch of things with it. So the idea is very simple. You take a column, you apply some function on it, and you are producing a new column, or you are just modifying the previous column. First, let's modify a column. Suppose I want to modify the name column. I want to make every name capital. So the syntax is very simple. You just need to mention the column df bracket the column name dot apply, and here you need to use something called as lambda function. They are one-liner functions and you don't need to really define them. So here I am just doing lambda x colon x dot upper. X is a string, right? So I will just apply the upper function on string, so it will make every name capital. Now let's create a new column. This time I'm gonna create a new column based on the ID column. So my logic is, if the ID is an even number, then the even odd column should contain 0, and if it's an odd number, then the even odd column should contain 1. Just look at the function here. df id dot apply lambda x colon 0. Now here is a very important thing. The value that you want to put if some condition is met should come before the if statement itself, and after that you need to use the else statement and then pass the value that you want to add if the condition is not met. I know it seems a bit weird at first, but that's how it is. Okay, so that was all the 11 tricks that I wanted to share. Now I know that many people are yelling at the screen saying that why I didn't mention the group by function. Well, understand this, group by function can do a lot, and I don't really want to mention that huge amount of detail in this video, so I'm not going to discuss the aggregate method and the group by method in this video, but I would highly recommend you to actually research about them, and they are really easy to apply and easy to understand. And if you know SQL, then they become very easy. So that was all for the video, guys. If you like this video, please share this video and subscribe this channel. Stay safe and thanks for watching.